Legend.
Jackson, how are you, brother?
Good. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm super pumped getting into this.
Thank
And
you,
I
man.
really want to speak to your story and, such an intriguing story to go from like living in China and to my understanding, really just selling everything, selling the business, selling the house, everything that you was successful in quote unquote most people's eyes, and then dropping over and living in like training with monks. Like, can you speak a little to that?
Yeah, man. I think I was well, I was really lucky that I sort of achieved everything. And maybe I had a small vision when I was when I was younger too. Like, and the vision was, buy a house, have a beautiful girlfriend, have an amazing job, and do really well at that job, and have a car and all that stuff. And by the age of 21, I had the house, the girlfriend, the car. I was running multiple businesses for other people at that stage of my life. Not at the same time, but at different stages. And I guess once I achieved that, I kind of realized like I'm not happy, and I was chasing this thing outside of myself, and I thought, well, once I get there, we all think that once we get there, we're going to be happy. And then I was like, I'm not happy. And that just, I was about 2 years into my Qigong practice, and um, there was just this
Just
pivot.
for the audience, just for the audience, can you just drop in Qigong just in case no one's ever heard of Qigong and they're just dropping in now for the first time? You just dropped
Mm.
Qigong. Can you just explain to them?
Yeah, Qigong has been a game changer for me on the Game Changers show. Here we go. um, yeah, so Qi just means energy and Gong just means work. So it's like energy work. But the more you get into it, you realize it's energy mastery. And essentially, Qi is in all forms, like wherever there's blood, there's Qi. And Qigong just essentially helps you, basically align the mind, the body, the spirit, the soul, and it develops this relationship between you, the earth, and the cosmos. And it's kind of like how you can align to earth and the cosmos and just like channel through more information. There's a lots of great science behind qigong as well, but just as a daily practice, it's amazing for mindfulness, and for developing internal power, developing manifesting charisma.
Yeah.
People who go through my qigong end up like their productivity goes through the roof. Their ability to connect into their soul is amplified. It really just amplifies whatever's already there, and it can bring up some shadow stuff as well. But generally, it tunes you more into your. Depends where someone is on their own
And
spiritual journey. Like if they're fresh into the spiritual journey, they get into qigong. One or two things can happen. They're like, "Wow, this is amazing," or it can bring up a lot of stuff because it's like the soul, there's all these parts of personality and ego that are yet to sort of to integrate, or to die away. So that challenge arises. So anyway, I'm getting off track already into multiple different pieces of
yeah,
conversation.
well, just
So,
just speak to that too. Like my first introduction to Qigong was through Ryan Nasser, and that was a game changing moment as well. And like you said, for me, it was the first case. It was like, whoa, I got to experience something I've never experienced before. And at that particular stage in my spiritual journey, it felt like the subtle awakening to something far grander that I never even could have imagined. So you spent 2 years training with your qigong, and yeah, just continue speaking about that.
yeah, I was running nightclubs and bars, and this just kung fu master came in, and he was from England, and that's basically what first introduced me into it. And I was a professional flair bartender, so I was traveling the world. I could throw bottles and blow, do all the cocktails and do all that type of creative flair. And I'd never done any kung fu other than watching Bruce Lee movies and stuff when I was younger, and all the kung fu flicks. And yeah, essentially, yeah, essentially, he just took me on as his one-on-one student to cut a long story short, and that just really inspired my heart. And straight away, I could feel like this magnetic energy between the palms of my hands. So it was really easy for me to be pulled or hooked into that. So, and
Mm,
that just kept opening up more possibilities and more potential, and that just led me onto a path. I think it was like uh, 3 or 4 years later, yeah, I decided to go to China and live with Shaolin monks. And basically, and a couple of years after that, or a year after that, I think it was, I sold my house to continue my training over there, and started up a business called StudyMartialArts.org, which is we help people from all over the world find the right kung fu masters and training opportunities in China. So I actually traveled around and met over 100 different teachers, and it was incredible,
mm.
from Shaolin monks to Taoist warriors to family kung fu traditions to different healing modalities right throughout China. China's a very untouched place for martial arts and healing traditions and that as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different stuff that you know the West is yet to see in terms of in terms of their culture, which is yeah. I was just you know I've always done what I loved. You know, from one thing to the next, I've always followed you know what I've been passionate about, and I've always you know push the status quo or go forward more into where consciousness or my own love is bringing me. So yeah, that's basically been the journey. So studymartialarts.org was the first business that I created in line with my passions and my purpose, you know. So I got to meet
Yeah.
like Bruce Lee's goddaughter. Actually, this certificate here, you know, it's basically it was something from the Shaolin Temple, but it just sort of gives a certification of my rank and stuff. It's signed by Diana Leanna Sano, Ron Balicki, uh, Dan Krinkowski, a whole bunch of different grandmasters and that. And I got to basically travel around China with them for a whole month as kind of like their Chinese translator, even though my Chinese was like so back then. It was probably, you know, and but yeah, that was just amazing. Like when you create a business that you're in line with your passion, the possibility
Mm,
can show up, you know. So, and it's helped my life in business tremendously. The different relationships I've built, the different skill sets that I've built, and I never stayed in a box. You know, I was always expanding what was possible, getting a taste of different perspectives, different cultures, different points of view,
yeah.
just to really, and that was just eye-opening. It sort of happened by accident, but then I just fell in love with training with as many different masters as I possibly could. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like, so aligning a business for what you love, you know, you said that that's something that happened for you early on. Not a lot of people are in that alignment, and, and you know, people struggle with that alignment. Can you speak to what got you so aligned to something so young, where, you know, studymartialarts.org was the first one of many, but yeah, what brought you to that space, and what made you go after or compelled you to go after that alignment?
Yeah, good question. I had a mentor. His name was Peter Ragnar, and I was learning through his books and his courses on sort of self mastery and you know basically how to create businesses in line with your passions. And I was just reading a lot and listening to the audios over and over again, just to develop my sort of understanding. And I guess when I went to China, you know, I had the house and there was equity in the property, and I just really wanted to do something that my passions were in line with. You know, I was running a nightclub and a bar, but after I sort of, you know, developed, you know, some level of practice or self awareness through Qigong, I sort of woke to the fact that I'm not really enjoying this. You know, everyone's drunk,
Mm,
everyone's partying, I'm doing late nights, I'm tired, and I'm stressed out. I'm not really loving this anymore. So for me, it was like when I'm going to China, I'm going to train really hard. I won in the first year. I won Best International Student,
yeah,
and that was judged on a whole bunch of different faculties, not just like hard work, but character and a bunch of different things. And you know, essentially, I went there just going like, right, I want to actually start a business in line with my passions. And at that stage, it was martial arts. So it was trying to look at what the market needed, what hadn't been done yet. So first of all, it was going to be like a martial arts factory. We are looking at opening in China. But then it was like once I traveled around, because the Chinese economy was booming at that stage, um, it was like the youth were there. It's more of an opportunist culture. It was like, wow, for a couple hundred years, you know, it was a hard time in China. Now is the time to make money. So it was like everyone was like, you know, going to make money. So a lot of the cultural arts were like kind of forgotten. So you had all these amazing masters that wanted to pass on their skills. And you have the people in the West who have gone through the turns of money and everything else like that. They really wanted to learn. You know, you can see how big the mindfulness, you know, yoga, you know, yoga is like a, you know, $28 billion industry or whatever it is. And, you know, the whole world's sort of moving in this sort of direction. And basically, you know, my thing from my heart was like, right, he's got this great knowledge and you've got a demand from the West. Let's connect these two dots. So
right,
we started up
right.
studymartialarts.org, and yeah, we help people from all over the world find the right training opportunities and make sure that basically when someone's interested in actually studying Kung Fu, they actually land in the right school. Or if they're interested in learning Chinese and integrating that or whatever it is, we actually land them in the right school and make sure that their values are aligned with the right training. Because sometimes in China, they can be like, yep, yep, come along, come along, come along. We'll look after you. And let's say you're interested in Chen style Tai Chi, you might rock up and they've got Yang style Tai Chi. Or so for us, it's like getting really clear on what the person actually wants and helping them. So we don't actually make uh, any extra money. It's just a service, and we get our kickback back from the school, and we just provide
Yeah,
basically a better sort of service. So it was my first business
sure.
aligned with my passion, and it's still going today, which is yeah, which I'm super grateful for that experience.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll drop a link into the to studymartialarts.org. And that's so key, is like getting the right alignment. So it's like, cool, it's the right timing, it's the right fit for the right school. It's like anyone going to, say if you're studying at a university, you want to make sure that the values of the university and what they have to offer. And that can be very hard, especially if you've never been to China before, even understanding where to begin. And so for you to, create this business where together you can create an opportunity for someone who really, and martial arts is an incredible like dedication to something that's going to change your life. And so to land in the right master in the right school and be in a place that you've never been to before, if you haven't been to China before, like sounds like it's getting me excited. Like just want to go
Yeah,
over now too.
Jackson.
Cool. So moving on after.
Yeah, it took 6 months. Oh, what was that? I think there was a little bit of a
No,
delay
no,
there.
continue. It took
So,
6 months.
it took 6 months, of traveling around and just collecting the database of masters. Because back then it was kind of like you'd go to one master and you're like, cool, do you know anyone else? And then, like, literally, we were traveling right around from right up north of Beijing, right down to Fujian province and, um, you know, Shanghai and Chufu and Wudang Mountain and yeah, just all so many different places, and we're just like literally no map. It's like, where's the next place we need to go? Where's the next place we needed to go? And we're just meeting all these different teachers. Man, it was incredible for me though. Like I think one of the best things you can possibly do is, one of the things I read in one of the books earlier on was like, if you want to grow in an area, make sure that your environment is surrounded by those types of people. So for me, it was like martial arts, and I was like, well, I don't know anyone. I just came out of running nightclubs and bars. Like, who do I know? So starting that business was a lifestyle choice for me as well. So I feel like if people want to get into business, it should be a lifestyle choice. That's what I personally believe. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to like, I've probably got 20 Shaolin monks as friends, I've, it's just, just really, really cool things like that. And multiple different Taoist teachers and Kung Fu masters as well. And yeah, it's beautiful to study ancient cultures as well if you're fascinated by that.
Yeah, I just saw someone drop in, Rico. He was actually telling me how he went to Japan and did the whole samurai. So
Yep.
he did a two week intensive samurai course. I think it was 2 weeks. So interesting. And so you talked about being able to integrate lifestyle into business as well as getting the opportunity to study with these masters. And you mentioned you got 20 Shaolin monks as your friend, which is just like super cool. And it's like same time, it's like not too many people just say like casually drop that in, and now in the business world that you're more focused on, at this point, it's like this idea of the spirituality side of things. So you got, the 20 Shaolin monks, and then who else in your spectrum of friends do you have that you've filled up full passports, you've done Qigong work on Richard Branson's island, like I just want to get an idea of the friend circle that we're talking here. That you mentioned before, that you're just touching on a little bit with the 20 Shaolin monks.
Yeah, I've got a really awesome variety of friends, man. Like in my lifestyle design model that I've been teaching for 6 years, one of the themes or the elements is having a variety of cool and amazing friends. So like, and
Mm.
basically because the can draw on, the more richer your life is. So most people will just have like one, like let's say if they're in real estate, they'll have just lots of real estate friends and a few other people. Or if they're in law, they'll have lots of law friends. And for me, it's
Yeah.
like always stretching that capacity. So I've got brilliant friends who are amazing doctors, some brilliant friends who are incredible scientists, lots of mystical and magical, like healers and practitioners from tantric right up to yoga to Taoist yoga to Egyptian yoga. Like I could just keep on talking from the spiritual perspective. Yeah, and yeah, like friends in like political friends, some really high level entrepreneurs, you know, that get invites to go and be on like Obama's cruise ship. Um, yeah, like I was talking to one of my friends, I can't mention her name. Um, but yeah, basically, she just got a call and she said, you need to be at the airport. And it's a UN thing. And you need to be at the airport at this time, pack your bag. This is what you need. And basically, when you get to the airport, we'll tell you what your flight is. And then the flight was like to Sunshine Coast or no, somewhere near, maybe it was Prime or somewhere on the Whit Sundays. And she got off there and then it was like, okay, travel to this next location. She traveled there and they would call her from each of these locations, and then she took a helicopter to this other place and then got off, and then they took this speedboat, and it was this huge yacht like way out here, and it was it was like Obama, and so yeah, so that was like and I'm pretty sure she'd be okay with me mentioning her name, to be honest, but I out of respect and integrity, like I just sort of like keep those things like pretty tight. One thing that I've learned, Jackson, is like the people, a lot of high performing, like really impactful entrepreneurs, a lot of them are doing incredible things around the world, and they're just not, they're not feeling the need to even show up online and like claim that internal validation, you know, which
Mm-hmm.
really surprised me because um, you can sometimes depict entrepreneurs in a certain way, and you know, an entrepreneur is just another human. You know, you have such a variety of different humans, and you know, thank God that we're all not the same. You know, because that's kind of like what makes, you know, life
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah. I mean, not everyone's cut out to be an entrepreneur, and yet a lot of people get sold on the idea of an entrepreneur. It's yeah, I remember doing an entrepreneur class in university and like announcing like, whoa, my experience is that being an entrepreneur is yeah, it's not everything that people like, oh, you know, you do the thing you love and you just do it and then it happens and stuff like that. There's a lot more to entrepreneurship. And you
mm,
usually drop in this line about business being a vehicle. Can you drop that line for me? I love that line.
mm, business is the ultimate spiritual journey, um,
Mm,
and the reason for that, I was with a monk, and he said, Ryan, do you know where the darkest place is in the world? Hey Shelly, how you doing? He's like, Ryan, do you know where the darkest place is in the world? And I was like, I don't know. And he points into the temple. And I was like, what, in the temple? And I was like, I've been meditating with you guys. You guys are super high vibe, connected. He's like, no, they're not facing the world. And I was like, whoa. And it just was really a profound, I don't know whether it was just like a lesson just for me. He's like, but they're not facing the world. And I was like, wow.
yeah.
And it really hit a chord in my heart. And then it just really clicked off. I was like, wow, business is the ultimate spiritual journey. And if you look at like spiral dynamics, like level 5 is, you got the king queen level here, level 4, it's like, but level 5 is like there is this like this capitalist and entrepreneurial and type of vibe, and it's just
Yeah, yeah.
another skill that we need to integrate. And yeah, so I just feel like no, sorry, entrepreneurship or business is the ultimate spiritual journey, because you've got to show up and you've got to deal with failure, which is very good for the masculine. As we both know, the best medicine for the masculine is to fail fast and
Yeah,
hard. And the way we realize
yeah,
that chasing something outside of ourselves isn't the purpose. The purpose is us living our life the way that we want it. Just you know, just there's nothing to chase. So
yeah.
yeah, spirituality is an sorry, entrepreneurship is an amazing spiritual journey, and you know, there's a lot of triggers around money and power. So if we can own those two, then you know the three triggers that most people have stuff around when you dive deep is sexuality, money, and power. So, and if you look what happens in the world,
Oh,
those three are what causes it. So for me, there's a definite calling to invite more people that are in these areas to face their shadows, because if you look at what we're doing to the world, or we look at a lot of the causes of suffering in the world, is because there's a lot of shadow here, and a lot of people just divert and don't face that. If we can work through those shadows and integrate a better relationship with money, sexuality, and power, what we'll create in the level of, you know, basically the consciousness on the planet will be far more, you know, inspiring and integral
mm,
and
Yeah,
yeah, it'll just be awesome. So mm,
absolutely. And if, anyone wanted to drop in a comment, especially in regards to those three major triggers around sexuality, and I'm just loving the love hearts just dropping in. Hey, Craig. Hey, everyone that's tuning in.
thank
Angus,
you,
if you want to drop any
Cabra. How you
comments in,
doing?
questions along the way, please do. Awesome. So transitioning now into, yeah, tell us like what you up to now. What's really like making you light up right now?
Yeah, well, I'm about to go to a mystery school. That's really lighting me up because that's tomorrow, and that's really really deep training of like a bunch of masters and just people who feel called to as well. People going really lighting me up now, just in general, is basically just where I'm at with business and what the Zen Archer Collective is doing and what the Golden Mean Spiritual Business Program is doing. The results we're seeing
Yeah.
inside of that now is incredible. Obviously, Jackson, you've come on as a main man, and you're just like rocking that out. And that I've had with this business, there's been other businesses that I've been able to start up and scale to
Loving the
seven
love.
figures. Yeah,
Everyone
being
dropping in the
able
love.
to, yeah, being able to scale to seven figures really quickly, but with soul-based business. So you just can't put anyone in the position. So you've gone through my earlier training. You've got a special energy and essence, and you naturally align. And we had that sacred business chat, which is, man, that's some cool value drop now. Has enabled the business to
Yeah.
do over 140K in the last month or something like that. Just like, obviously this, but that one piece is is like, it's interesting. Like when we don't see sex as a part of the way we relate, and everything has value, and then there's this cross pollination.
Mhm.
Masters are very good at taking something from one side and integrating it back into something else. So that's something that we could drop to for value if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm feeling called to, let me just check in. Yeah, I feel like we should do that. Drop in some value around all of that actually. And just give some love and some thumbs up if you'd like to hear us speak more to that. Craig
Thank you.
saying
Sure.
boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Just enjoying the inner stillness.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Here we go. So which
Oh,
way do you want to go, bro? Get into the flow now.
yeah, I'm feeling sacred business needs to come through.
Cool. Cool.
Jen
Um,
Morris,
well,
thank you for dropping the love.
sacred business. So the one thing that's working really well with what we're sort of developing, Jackson, and the culture and the community, and also in the tribe, is just this whole idea of being able to speak something to space. And how we do that is we actually just before we begin, we say, "Can I just need to speak this? Or can I speak this to space?" And the other person gives like, "Yep," the nod or the permission to speak this to space. And basically, it's container that you're or your feelings or your ideas, so that little charge doesn't become like a big problem like 3 months down or 6 months down the line, and then a big fight happens, and and then it's like people go different ways and businesses collapse, or there's a lot of pressure. So if you can just speak it to space and just allow someone to hold space for that, that's one of the key aspects to sacred business. And then there's another 5 pieces that I use that I literally learned from Tantra that I use in business that has been changing the game of relationships and business hugely, which has been, which has been like uh, remarkable in essence. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Some amazing
Yeah,
people on board.
I'm just being mindful that there's a bit of lagginess. Yeah, there's some amazing people. But just being mindful of the lagginess, I will speak a little more. So, for example, what Ryan was talking about, something that's really helped the growth of the business and what we do together is this idea of speaking something to space. And this can be applied to business, and I highly recommend it. But this can also be applied to relationships and even friends. And really, the key here is like, you know, if there's something inside that you feel maybe insecure about, you feel like there's some worries, even something that you just want to announce out, but you don't really want to direct it to someone. You could just say, you know, hey Ryan, I want to speak this to space. It's feeling really hot in this room, and I feel sweat is just dripping down my face, and that's making me feel uncomfortable being on this live. And it's like, cool. So I spoke that to space, and it feels like it's out now. I feel this lightness come through. And the key here too is that, you know, Ryan can just hold the space. He doesn't have to answer anything back to me about that. That was a small example, probably not the best example, but it's a really powerful tool so that, like Ryan said, you don't have something that's just something small that's like just tinkering inside that builds up, that you just could speak to space, and for the other person to be present while you, to be witnessed while you speak something to space is tremendous. So we always say an S2S if you're texting it, like, hey, just something to speak to space, and it may not be directed at anyone. It's not supposed to be directed at anyone. It's just being spoken to space. I have some
Yeah.
great friends who help this way but love this idea. Yeah, cool. So I would recommend everyone try this and implement this like as quick integration is just something that you feel like you would like to speak to space. And even parents to kids, this would be an amazing communication tool, speaking to space. We use it in the business all the time, and it allows us to like surface something that doesn't necessarily is directly to someone, but it's surfaced, it's out there, it's been held in space, it's been witnessed, and it drops things very quickly, and we can just get back to business or whatever it is.
Yeah. To give a couple of direct practical examples, it might be like, oh, Jackson, I need to speak something to space. I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm not sure if I'll be able to deliver on that outcome this week. And we speak it to space, and then Jackson, it could either just go to space, or then Jackson might bring something up around that as well. And then what happens is something lands, and then we integrate a more heartful, soul-based way to move forward with that challenge. And then another thing is like, oh, Jackson, I just need to speak this to space. I'm just a little bit, I just have a little bit of my own insecurities and my own worries. I'm just worried if like you'll be able to bring this through on time. It's just playing on my mind. I just want to speak it to space. And then Jackson has an opportunity to sort of like, okay, cool. So the key is it's not directed at anyone. It's an opportunity to share those insecurities or those fears so we can come together and actually work together more as a soul or as a heart-based team. Because the frequency of the heart is, coherence. And that just enables things to self-organize from the spiritual classics and from Taoism and etc. So that's a really cool, it's really really cool. But also it just means that little worry, like let's say if I rocked up, we'll just bring it back to me. Let's just say if I rocked up late to a meeting for a few minutes, and then Jackson was like worried that like this was a pattern that was gonna keep on playing out. And Jackson could say, "Hey, Ryan, I just want to speak to space. I'm just a little bit worried that that you might be lagging on your work or something like that." And then we get to clear it. We didn't speak it to space, and that happened one time. And then he builds this perception up in my mind that Ryan is someone who's like gonna turn up late or he's gonna do this thing, and then we hold that little frame in time and that perception about the person. And there's a great exercise that I do with people where you can close your eyes in a room full of colors, and you get them to count how many things are one color, and you get them to count it, and they close their eyes and they get to recall how many of that color they've got, and then you say, Garrett, how many things are yellow? And they're like, oh, usually they can't even name one or two things. So the way when we focus on something, especially if it's emotionally anchored, it becomes our core focus. It's like, right, that's the thing, and the emotion kind of filters our reality, and we don't see things as clearly as we'd like to. That's why meditation and mindfulness and
Mm-hmm.
self-clearing and these practices are cool, just to see things as they are. But the opportunity with speaking it to space, if you don't have some of these other skills, mirror theory and all that other stuff, um, is that Jackson can speak it to space, and then all of a sudden it's clear, and then 6 months later down the track, it doesn't turn into this
Yeah.
big issue from this small little thing. In Taoism they say take care of things when they're small before they get big, and yeah, I guess that's what speaking to space is. It's an opportunity to just clear the channel and then just get on with what needs to get on, and that way is a way more coherent environment. So There's a few more elements to this as well, and
Yeah.
Jackson and I really flesh this out. We've got speaker to space, speaker to life, and there's an actual framework. You've got to be able to hold the space, and you're not. It's not like Jackson. I need to speak to this space. You are a da, 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 and I project all of my shit onto you. You know, it's like, hey, I just need to speak to the space, and literally you say, this is how I feel, and you speak it to the space. It's not directed to the person, and then you just let it land, and then the person can either, you know, speak to it if he needs, and it's a supportive, encouraging environment
Yeah.
that is sort of created when we can, you know, and it's something about men too, Jackson. It's like they aren't able to share their vulnerabilities, you know, and it's something that should be more welcome because you know
Yeah.
everything is on the other side of that vulnerability if we can move through it.
Absolutely. And I agree on the men piece there. It's I'm just there's a bit of lag, but yeah, I'm catching what you're saying in terms of what's landing. You know, to see this, it'd make my heart sing if I saw this in, say, classrooms even, or, you know, amongst men and their friendships and stuff like that. But even in the classroom for like a teacher and student scenario, or, you know, and that they're speaking stuff to space, and it just for the student allows them to just like pull, drop their insecurities and see, it's the key is being witnessed. Being witnessed in you speaking it out to space, because often if you speak something to space and you just hold some silence, it's like resolved in that person because they've been witness speaking this to space. It's like, oh, cool, that just got off my chest or whatever. And no one actually reacted to it. No one had to add their piece to it. Sometimes you can just hold the space and let it just drop into silence. And then, because, you know, if no one's adding their piece to it, it feels like, cool, I can just get that out of my system without having all this feedback saying like, yeah, you're so broken, or try this and this and that. It's like sometimes we don't even want advice. We just want to be heard, and yeah, and not speaking this stuff out directly to someone, because that could make that someone uncomfortable, and their triggers, it could be triggered and this and that. It's being spoken to space, so it's like boom, it's out there. Cool, man. I think that's landing home. I'm getting some love. I'm opening up the space also for anyone to drop in a question for Rhyn as well. This is a awesome opportunity, especially before he goes away to the mystery school for 6 weeks. If you have a burning question that you'd love to ask Rhyn, we're going to open up space for that to land into any questions. But for the meantime, too, while we're waiting for any questions to land in, yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk vision. Let's talk vision, because like I feel like there's a theme coming through for vision that we could just speak to, and I love vision. Everyone, everyone, like if you've ever had a clarity in terms of vision, oh, it's such a great feeling. So Rhyn, let's drop in some vision wisdom that comes through.
Cool, cool. If you got a pen and paper, write down this because it's really, really, really important. So, your vision must be stronger than your memory, so you live from the future version of yourself, not the past version of yourself. So, your vision must be stronger than your memory, so you live from the future version of yourself, not the past version of yourself. So, what happens when people loop and they're emotionally connected to the past is they recreate that vibration of the past. And what's interesting is even if you've got a positive story of your past that you love telling, and it isn't the vibration doesn't
Mm.
match the frequency of that doesn't match future version, then even that positive story you need to let go of. You know, so you need to empty the cup. So basically, our vision must be stronger than our memory. Otherwise, we keep going back to the past and not creating our future version. So the key is to spend as much time on vision as we possibly can. So I do that with journaling. I do that with like mentors and coaching, and you know, I'm a creator, so a lot of my from the wealth dynamics profile testing, if anyone's familiar with that, like I spend a lot of my time naturally in creative ideas and vision. So for me, that is more naturally governed, but we've all got the ajna, you know, so it's like we all have the ability to have vision. It's the command center. It's our ability to see into the future. So the more that we can cultivate that, Jackson, the far greater our life. Once we have it clear on what our vision actually is, that's what disciplines our friendship circles. is that vision is just like a muscle. We need to work it out regularly. We need to have time away from it as well. So if we're overdoing vision, we'll get fatigued. So there is a basically the cold system is short on its resources, where the hot system continually, that passion place has its unlimited to its resources, but the cold system is limited. So yeah, vision is just like a muscle. It's something that we need to exercise regularly and have breaks from as well, so we can drop back into space and really feel into universal energy or into our environment and really bring forward what we want to bring forward, to the next vision, so to speak. So that's just one piece on vision. Get your vision
Right.
stronger than your past, basically.
Sure. Sure. And I love that. I'm just gonna wait for your phone to catch up. There's a bit of lag going on, but we're gonna roll with it. Especially overworking the vision too. So what Ryan spoke to about that's an
Yeah,
incredible
the best.
piece.
You're
Well, to
welcome.
drop in. Yeah, let's see. We got some amazing people dropping in here. Hey, Roberta, and let's answer some of these questions too coming through. We'll start with Shelly. During Zach 8 week, is it normal for things to change with the target? So, just anyone that's watching this live that doesn't know what Zach is, Ryan, can you just drop a quick minute summary of what Zach is, and so that we can answer Shelly's questions, so everyone can feel involved in the live.
Yeah, yeah. That's a deep sort of question. So the Zach is a Zen Archer collective, and essentially it's like a spiritual based high performance program. So from my journey from meeting Sir Richard Branson and having a lot of really high performing entrepreneur friends, and even being in the business realm before I went to the mountains of China, and my family's been in business for 75 years or even more. So and then like going to the mountains, you could see there's this big split between like generally speaking, not always, but it's like the business world and the spiritual world, and we're seeing an integration now, but we're not seeing it in the speed that I would like to see it, because if we can have a
Mm,
relationship between Earth and, you can say, cosmos or the universe or whatever you want to say, then actually we have a healthier connection to our relationship to the planet. And
yeah.
so for me, spiritual high performance, the reason it created is I actually I was unwell, and and I was like basically wanted to reinvigorate the way I was approaching business and spirituality as well. And
Yeah.
I was already doing it, but I went really, really deep into that afterwards. And yeah, now it's become like a program that those who go through it, they're integrating this sense of their self, their spirituality, whatever that definition is for them, into a high performing sort of nature. So usually you'd get high performing entrepreneurs who are achieving things very well, doing very well, but they're disconnected to their body and their bodily needs, or sometimes their relationships and stuff like that. Or then you've got the spiritual people who have got great ideas, great vision, and stuff like that, but usually you have trouble executing on the ideas. Obviously, this is a generalization, but for me, I was sort of tired of being one person to one group, another, half of myself to one group and half of my other
Yeah.
self to another group. So
Sure.
I was like, right, it's time to build a tribe. So, I think we've got 36 people in the Zen Archer Collective from around Australia, some Americans in there, someone from England in there as well. There's some, different people from all over. I've been mentoring
and
people
and
for like
growing
ages.
and growing too, like absolutely growing. Just everyone that dropping into, like, I'm the CEO. I manage that collective, and I stepped into that role. It would have been about a month and a half ago, almost 2 months, and it's just been a sensational journey so far. I'm loving all the love hearts that are dropping in, and yeah, there's so much more to come to this too, and we'll speak a little more towards this towards the end of the call. Just to answer Shelly's question, Ryan, and keep things rolling.
Mm,
She asked, "Is it normal for
yeah,
things to
yeah,
change with the target?"
yeah. So if you're on the Zen Archer program, obviously targets can change, and it really depends if you're how connected you are, or because when you're doing the morning and the evening qigong practice, a lot can evolve in a person. They can get more clarity on what they need to do and more focus. Um, so the way that the Zen Archer target is set up is you should have a clear outcome, and you go for that over the 8 weeks. And so generally, the answer would be no. You have your target and you stick to it and you complete it.
Yeah.
In Shelly's case, because it's more to do with the the Zen Archer Collective, Shelly, what I would say is I would get in contact with me or Jackson, and we'll really tune in to what's changing and transforming with you. Because one of the common things with the Zen Archer program is you're going to hit lots of upper limits as you're developing your energy and your productivity, a whole new relationship to high performance and connection within. Because it's all about balancing that golden mean, the balance point between the two extremes. So it's like, how can you be divinely connected within and perform at a high level? And naturally, you're going to hit upper limits. So one of the very things that the ego will do is change our direction, and we want a new target and something that we can re-inspire ourselves by. So
Definitely. Everyone that's tuning into that, like, it will do such a good job of, like, right when you're about to break through, when you're so close, going, hey, here's that shiny object. And I'm speaking from people that are stars as well. Or like, oh, here's that. I call it productive distraction, where it's like this really cool opportunity. And like, oh, yeah, that would still serve. I'd get a lot out of that. But really, all it's doing is the ego wanting to protect you from getting through that upper limit. So...
yeah.
We're going to move into Craig's question. How do you bring your multiple interests into a singular focus without losing your authentic wholeness? What a question, Craig. Thank you for dropping that in.
Yeah, cool. Let me just
Great
check
question.
out the question. Cool. All right. You know, there's many ways you can look at this question. So we got the lifestyle design model, Craig. We got or anyone who's listening, we got a free training on that. Going through that can definitely help integrate the different hobbies or aspects that we've got into our life. You've got the Mandela chart training too, which is like sacred training from Japan. I think like we're the first ones to have that like translated from Japanese into English. Like the president of Sony uses it and stuff like that. Um, you know, it always comes back to self-awareness and like also what happens is that also where we're at financially and what we're trying to achieve. Because I remember there was a period 3 years ago I was teaching martial arts 2 times a week. I'm an instructor, Australian representative of 2 different internal martial arts, and I was teaching one of those systems. Then I was teaching like a Tai Chi master. Then I was teaching like Shingi to another person. Then I was teaching Tai Chi to a bodybuilder. And then I was doing my coaching on the week. And then I was teaching like mentoring a high performing entrepreneur from the States. And then I had my group program, and I was doing all of these things. And like literally my mentor at the time, I can't remember the exact conversation, but if you're trying to spread yourself too thin, the essence of your work goes thin as well. So sometimes we've got to sacrifice and have like what ladder are we onto? What is the path and we can go as deep into that as we like. So it's creating more of a multi-dimensional focus inside of that linear direction. If you want to scale and break through, I feel like that is really, really important. So sometimes success is not about so much like what we actually do. It's more so what we let go of and the space that we create for new things to come through. So, in terms of bringing that through, how do you bring your multiple interests into a singular focus without losing your authentic wholeness? First of all, Craig, get clear on your highest values. What's really, really important to you, and get really, really important on that. Get really, really clear on that, and then become a master of scheduling your time so you're meeting those high values throughout your week. And check in with, because I know, Craig, you're growing your business goals now in the program. So the focus would be getting really clear on what's the most important thing, and your Zen Archer target is that most important thing for the next 8 weeks. So often it's sacrificing and putting all that energy into what you really want and going deep and meeting the resistance that we naturally meet when we're about to break through. So and actually, and just enjoying that sort of process. So we actually will break through. So.
Yeah, and then getting clear too is like, cool, once those values, you are clear on your highest values, it's getting very clear on what you can say no to. It's like, cool, is this actually lighting me up? Is this, as we say, Ryan and I like to say this a lot, is this a full fuck yes? Because if it isn't, you should be laying down that no. And that's something I've had to do very recently, is say some big no's that are kind of, they didn't feel that comfortable to me, but I knew inside that wasn't fully lighting me up. And by creating the no, you create the space then for everything to fall into place that is going to light you up, that you are going over to. And, you know, that I'm someone that has definitely been that person where I've stretched myself very thin in terms of my essence by doing, I've got my hands in a lot of different things. And since I've gained this clarity, I've realized, actually, like Ryan said, a lot of the success that's coming through, or a lot of the, yeah, just a lot of the wholeness of who I am authentically is by saying no to a lot of different things and getting my hands less in things that, and you know, sometimes it's getting your hands in things that, like you said, are good productive distractions, or these are these things that you're like, oh, you know, I should probably do that just because that person's depending on me and that. And so it's like actually getting very clear at where is my energy being dispersed, where am I spreading myself too thin, is that going, you know, is everything in line with my highest values? And once you got that clarity, it's great to have that awareness and that clarity, but it's another thing to act on it and put down the no's, and start, you know, start building the walls, the boundaries, so that you can flow.
Definitely, man. You know, it's just like a river. What creates flow in the river is actually the boundaries and the banks. So it's like quite often people live in the maybe life, or they're like being a swamp, and they're like, yeah, I've got a little bit of everything, you know, I've got it all going on. But it's like there's no real flow if you've got no boundaries or banks. So like in
Mm,
business, that's probably the best way to answer the question for you, Craig, as well, is get really clear on what your boundaries are, because that's what creates flow. And you know, it's like what you say no to is what's going to create flow. So, and basically, otherwise we're just living a maybe life. And you know, we need to be in, like, one of the things we just did at the last retreat is, one of the things we're very big on is actually people being empowered to say no, and in their full fucking potential, their full self responsibility to have an empowered no, so that way that they
mm,
can, because you can't, your fuck yes comes from a fuck no, you know. So until you can actually be clear on laying that down, and being clear with that, the what you really want doesn't sort of arise. So you know, it's very good to exercise the no. You know, I don't necessarily agree with being the yes yes man all the time.
yeah.
It's actually developing the ability to say a clean, strong no. And also, when someone says no to me too, like, it's the most honorable thing, because it means it's not in alignment for me either. You know, so it's like I want to live a life where, as much as possible, that everything's in alignment, unless I'm breaking through the next level, which there can obviously be, you know, a disconnect from that for a while. But it's like, so when someone says no to me, so people are like, well, how do you put yourself out there? Why aren't you afraid? It's like, you know, and it's like, for me, it's like, well, if someone says no, I completely honor that, because it means it's not in alignment right now, or maybe
Mm,
never. And that's totally cool. So like for me, it's a disservice to me and the other person. So it's just
yeah.
like, cool, no, let's look for where the flow is. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't see it as it's just not in alignment. If it's, anyway, I just thought I'd drop that in, because a lot of people have fear of actually other people telling them no, and that actually blocks them from actually saying no as well, because they're just worried about, oh, how will that make them feel. When the reality
Mm,
is, like, if we have to honor everyone else's no, because, you know, otherwise it's just not in alignment to proceed. And why would you want to get yourself tangled in something that's not an absolute fuck yes, or both
yeah, and
people's
what,
or journeys?
yeah, what I've found too is, you know, being clear on those no's and having your standards, creating your standards as well, is like what you'll find sometimes is that when you do say the no, the yes can come through. And it might be that right now it's a no at this time, but down the
Yeah.
road, that no then might transition into a yes. And it's like, oh, cool. But it's because you taught yourself and your system how to say no in that moment to that thing. And that could break, trust me, that could definitely break a huge pattern in your life if you're struggling with your boundaries and saying no. I highly encourage you to get clear on that, and then throw down a no. And that might be practicing some extreme moments where it's like, oh gosh, it's like, and then placing that no down, it will just shift a lot, because yeah, you'll find the more that you're saying no, and there's not a lot of no's thrown out right now in life. Like not a lot of people are saying no. Like we get all these yeses, and I want to all in, I want to try this, but
Mhm.
how many no's do you hear from people? Not a lot. Or if it's a no, it's kind of like this maybe. It's like yeah, maybe, or it's like a yeah, no, you know what I mean? It's not like this firm, like actually it's a no. And then for the other person too to respect that and go, oh
Mhm.
wow, thank you for honoring yourself by saying no. It means that you're very clear right now that this isn't going to best serve both of us, which is so
No,
true.
Totally.
Everyone drop it, like, including myself, the times where I've said a yes when I wasn't a full yes. And that's been a disservice to me because I haven't been fully invested or fully present with the situation. Or just drop a thumbs up or a comment if that's been you at all in your life. And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's definitely been me at some points in my life. So it's great to go on the other end of the spectrum and be able to say your no's and articulate that clearly, and then feel like, whoa, because I've just broken this pattern by saying a no. And you know, this could be a no in terms of relationships. This could be a no in business. This could be a no towards just food. Even just food is like, cool, check in. Do you actually want this piece of cake or whatever it is? And the body's going no, and it's like, oh gosh, I just say no. It's just so there's a lot there that you can expand this into, this idea of saying no.
On the opposite side of that too, Jackson, like you know, obviously, you know, boundaries are super important. And
Mm.
there's two ways, because like what creates flow is also our ability to lean into our edge as well. So,
Yep.
and if we're always, so if you're like let's say, I think most people have trouble saying no, and most people have trouble respecting no. And once you
Yep.
realize that that is in line with the other person, cool, thank them. That's a win-win for both. But then if you're someone who's always throwing up so many no's, you're actually blocking the flow. Then you've got a dam. You know what I mean? Like there's no way for the river to actually create flow. So it's like,
Yep.
in that case, it's authentically finding your edge. Where not going past the edge where you put yourself into trauma, just authentically, slowly, delicately leaning into what your edge may be so you can find that yes, so you can create more flow. And that is also important, because it's like you have two types of people. People are like, yes, 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 and they've got this swampy maybe life. They're saying yes to all these things. Their energy is dissipated all over the place. I was definitely one of those people for living that maybe life, or trying to do it all, you know, for a long time. And then you've got the other type of person who's just no, 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 and it's like all these opportunities coming their way, and it's always a no, and it's always a no, and it's like for them, it's just like, well, let's honestly look at our yeses and our nos, but let's look at our nos and let's authentically find where we can move our edge, because how we do one thing is how we do another thing. And if
Yep.
we're closed off, and it's actually more of a habitual no, that we're not even authentically, because our yeses and our no, we've got to be empowered, Jackson, in each moment
Yeah.
to feel into what our no or what our yes is, you know. So when we can actually do that, then we actually start to do, you know, expand our life,
Yeah.
because we can say no, that's not right for me, or wait up, no, it's not right for me. But then maybe like, okay, cool, then maybe there's an edge here that I can explore, and let's go really slow if I want to find maybe where my new boundary is, and then I can lean
Yeah.
into it, and then that can open
Sure.
up new sort of space. So it's a, you know, there's always an opposite, you know, so it's always good to
Sure.
look at both sides, and I think that's really, really important for the audience as well to know.
Absolutely. And Elizabeth, just to answer your question too, if you said a yes and didn't mean it, how do you go back and say a no? I can relate to this at this point in my life where, you know, prior to going into the Fuck Yes Life retreat, I had said a few yeses to some pretty big things. And when I say big things, I'm talking like a multicultural performance, being the lead role in this massive competition, dance competition. And coming out of that retreat, I realized those weren't full yeses from me. Like when I really checked in, I was like, oh, I was saying yes to those things, but now I'm so clear on what it is I want, and my no's, that like that isn't in full alignment. And so I had to say no to a very difficult thing I kind of committed to already, but it felt liberating to be able to break the pattern, where otherwise, if I wasn't honoring myself, I would have just continued on with the, you know, with the performances, and really the pattern that I was breaking is that pattern of like trying to do a lot of different things. It's like that productive habit of like getting, you know, oh, it's going to benefit me being up on stage, all the people, this and that. It's like that would be a great opportunity, but really it's taking me, that ego place is taking me off path of what it is I really want. I really want. And so to go back and stand true in my no, and actually say, you know, and be very kind with this as best you can. It's kind of like love and leadership. When you say your no to the person, on that end of the thing, they were kind of like really thrown off, and it was super shocking for them. But it meant so much internally for me to say no in that moment, even though I had said yes a couple of weeks back. It just changed everything. It opened up the space for everything to change in my life. So yeah, I would really encourage you to lean into your edge, because that was definitely leaning into my edge, to say no to the, you know, to something that you said yes and didn't really mean it, because all you're telling your system, all you're teaching yourself is that it's okay to say yes to something I don't really mean. You know, how many, and I'm going to drop it in too, how many women out there have, you know, in a sexual situation where they've kind of, through their bodies, kind of like, it's kind of a no, how quickly things are leading into it, and they've said a yes but didn't really mean a yes in terms of letting the person sleep with them or something like that. So it's like being able to say a no in that moment as well. So it's like, cool, if someone was there, wanted to sleep with me, would I just say yes even though I don't really mean it, or would I go back and say no and really say no? So I would encourage you to do that for sure.
Power to the no and the yes.
Boom. Cool. Is that, if there's any more questions, Ryan and I, we're going to wrap this up probably in the next 15 minutes. So if you have any more questions, please drop it in for Ryan. Once again, wonderful opportunity before he goes off for 6 weeks at the mystery school. And yeah, this is going to be, that's going to be another adventure. We won't speak too much to that.
I just want to say with Jen, she's like, hey Jen, how you doing? It is freeing being your true self. And it's so true, you know. That's where it's at. So when we be our true self, it, you know, yeses or nos, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, big time, super freeing. Ah.
Mr. Craig is turbo on the all the
Love
emojis tonight. The love, the laugh, the yeah, everything is coming through. So
yeah, part of me is like very tempted to drop a little conscious rapping right now. Do a little word game, throw it in. We could do like a cappella with no real beat, I guess. You got
yeah,
this
yeah, we should have some sort of
instrumental.
instrumental in the background.
Oh, maybe on your laptop you could.
What was the name of the album that we were going to record the conscious rapping for? What was the name of that was again? Was it Pete Rock, was it, or?
Yeah, it was New York's finest instrumentals in Spotify. We're actually gonna do something fun just to finish before we finish, and we're gonna drop a little freestyle rap. Ryan and I love conscious rapping, and yeah, what we're gonna do is get you guys to add a word in the comments. So you're gonna drop a word in, and we'll rap about it between Ryan and I. It's something we really enjoy. So Ryan's gonna bring up an instrumental, just a little beat to play over the live.
What was it called? New York's finest. And by the way, like, I am an absolute amateur at freestyle.
Yeah, by the way, Ryan started rapping less than 2 weeks ago, and how much he's picked up is just blowing my mind. I kind of opened up the space for him, and we do this in our retreats. It's really fun to open up the space and allow people to drop in and do freestyle rapping, because what it is like freestyle rapping to me is like language, moment. Oh, here we go. We got some tunes. Oh, Craig's already dropping his first word. Okay, I'm gonna just start rapping until Ryan gets the piece going. I'll do the word. New York's finest instrumentals, I think it was.
New York's finest. I don't know why it's not
coming out. So Craig's got the first word. Dimension. Start lining up your words right now.
Oh, maybe it will play over. Okay, yeah.
We're gonna drop in the heart space, spiritual. What a place. It's magical. I'm in a small room, but I feel like I got a lot of space. We can do this right now. Ryan and I are feeling so proud. It's the spiritual dream team. We're here to throw you another word, another comment. Just bring it through. This is how we do. 1, 2, magical. I feel like this could go so much further than we already know. We don't need a beat. Oh, we got a beat. Okay, we got intention. Intention. Let's drop it in. Intention, yeah. I forgot to mention Game Changers Live. I feel like I am feeling so alive. The show is kicking on, how it thrives. Now Ryan's gonna drop the next word, vision.
Vision, it's time that you can believe it. It's best believing that you can bring your vision. Oh my God, I feel so nervous inside. This is the first time I've done conscious rapping on a Facebook Live. Oh my God, I can feel my emotions totally alive. It's like a flowing river deep inside. Oh my God, here we are sending lots of love to everyone on this Facebook Live. It's all about your vision. You must be inspired. You must be alive to take the walk on your path. You got to make it last. You got to keep going, move through all the challenges. You can make it last. It doesn't matter. Just don't be last. Be the first of the gate. You've got this. Don't wait. Life is too precious to wait. So step out of the gate. Just put on the blinkers. Just like a horse, you can get there first. You can make this. Oh man, my heart is pumping.
Yo, dropping in too.
What's the next word?
Band on demand. Elizabeth with intuitive plans. Yeah, we're gonna talk about boundaries too. If you're just tuning into this live, it's fun. Nurture the freedom inside. I feel like we're expanding out all of our mind. Oh, I see so many emojis dropping in. Yes, yes, no. This is how we begin. Yes, yes, flow. Yeah, I feel it tingling in my skin. Hee, ha, ha. We just keep the words going through. Mystery school, the 6 weeks Ryan's gonna be away for. But it's okay, I'm gonna hold down the fort. Feeling like I'm creating boundaries and flow. And this is how we do. Next word. I feel my heart pumping for yous. Boom.
Here we go. What's the next word? What do we got? Is it fun?
Joy.
All right. Here we go. Let's have some fun. I'm running out of words, but it's okay. I won't lose this run. I will be first in your heart every time. Just open your heart and you will realize it's time to jump into your sublime rapping time. It's time to be all of it. Oh man, I can't believe it's all okay. It doesn't matter if you're not perfect. Just get out of your way. Let the ego drop so you can drop into your soul. That way you can speak at school, your soul. You can speak to the speak of your. Oh my God. Oh. It's all about moving through. Even if you face a failure, just find your groove. It's totally fun to do this. Really old. I'm appreciating all the laughs from you, Craig, too. Oh my God, I can see your face smiling too. Oh my God, it's time to let this flow go back to Jackson too.
All right, Jackson's gonna finish on the last rap. Finishing off the words like it's just a trap. Zen Archer, yeah, that's an amazing, phenomenal program. 8 weeks, man. You're gonna find all the stars, and the cat is away. Whoa, Craig, that's a different sort of word today. Boom, boom, pow. Bailey dropping in the bars. Elizabeth wanna go through the world, touch the stars. Zoom, zoom, out to space. And it's a fuck yes, man. I feel the comments every single day. So we're gonna end this freestyle rapping right now. Tone it down just to end it off. This is the best. I know we can feel it. Yes, I feel it in my chest. Ryan, if you want to cut the beat so we can end it and I can say the last few words, drop in wisdom. Oh my gosh, everyone's just bringing in the love vibes. I don't even know if they want us to start.
Here we go. I've got to try to redeem myself from that. So what's the next word? What do we got?
Right.
What do we got? Is it? Okay, let's speak the truth. Here I am. I'm going to the mystery school. I'm a little bit nervous. I haven't been before. I don't really know. I never was good at school before. But this mystery school, I own that shit. I step into my school and I've got this. That's right. This rhyme is just for you. I'm making it up like I play the sacred didgeridoo. Oh, my Aboriginal friends, I feel you deep inside. Oh, my God, this is their land. I feel so sacred every time I walk to school with my Aboriginal brothers and sisters, too. Oh, my God, I can feel that brotherhood, that tribal awareness, that consciousness in the hood. It is time that we support them on their journey. We bring them through and support them on this mystery. That's right, they've got some of the most gangster history that you'll ever find. Oh my God, some of my friends deep inside. Why are we judging for colors and skin colors when we're all a soul underneath? That's right, drop your personality and land on your feet, and you will see that this is really neat, that we are all one, consciousness and all. It's time to bring it through. When I get back from the mystery school, it's going to be blowing up the humanity and all, but with deep love, it's about creating in the Middle East and peace on the streets. Everywhere you can bring the peace inside. Just remember it. It's always inside. It's self-responsibility. We must bring our full ability. Yeah, that was on. Now I hear Jackson, we in our prime. It doesn't matter if you're not perfect. Just get started. Get started in your business. Get started on your path. It's totally fine, and you will last. Oh my God, this is the first time rhyming. Oh my God, I'm on this Facebook Live, and it's okay, because I'm fine in my prime. And oh my God, we're gonna drop this through. I just want to send everyone sorts of love through the sacred didgeridoo. Hey,
Oh,
Jackson,
wow.
we should
Cut the beat,
talk to
cut the
B
beat,
plus.
DJ, cut the beat. Yeah.
We should
Cut the beat.
we should
All
talk to
right.
B plus.
Yeah, so everyone, first and foremost, thank you for dropping in the comments. That was super fun. I love that. So, Jen, you commented Craig's hearts are rapping too. Totally true. What we're going to say is that Ryan and I in December are dropping an album, B+, and it's going to be a rap album. By the way, big shout out to Ryan for only like 2 weeks into freestyle rapping. But it's really about this idea of conscious rapping, and that was all freestyle, and we're really going to dial in with this B+ album coming out. And the concept about it is that you don't always have to try and go for the A+ and try and be the best at it all, and kind of strive for your flow. It's about getting things out there and just B+ing it sometimes as well. The A+ is great. We don't shy away from the A+, but neither do we hold that in such a esteem where it's like, oh, it's so outside of ourselves, and we got to make sure it's perfect before it can ever land, and this and that. So the B+ album is all about that. We're going to dive deep into some amazing conscious rap and just have a track that everyone can listen to and have fun to as well. So Ryan and I are going to be dropping that in December.
Yeah. I promise I'll be better by then. This is a good
Man,
breakthrough.
that was awesome. That was great with the sacred didgeridoo and talking about the Aboriginals. I thought that was a phenomenal segue. Yeah.
So I think it's good just to get that first one out of the road. You know what I mean? Usually we wait and we're just like nervous, and it's good to be able to just to drop it and flow and just allow the imperfect action. That's the whole thing that's inspired with the B+ album is often we're frozen by perfection, and we look at big companies around us and all the things that everyone else is doing, and we really freeze ourselves from being able to step outside of our comfort zone because we're projecting on an image that we're trying to look up to. And the whole idea of B+ is just be okay with just your B+ and just be consistent. It's better to have a few B pluses than just trying to craft that perfect A+ that you may never even get out ever. So the more B pluses will lead to those, those higher sort of levels as well. So I'm actually really stoked that I've got that out of the road, to be honest.
Yeah, proud of you, man. Like, not everyone jumps on alive and raps. I guess it's kind of been the theme when Game Changers Live. I'm kind of pushing my Game Changers to rap. But you're someone that definitely embraces that, and that's just a big testament to who you are. You lean into your edge at all times, and you really embrace different cultures and different challenges, and it's something I really admire in you. So thank you for doing that with me. Appreciate that, brother. And I guess I want to, before just closing, in terms of some value that's been dropped, I mean, we covered not only a lot into your story, but we talked about vision, and we got into saying, like, being clear on your boundaries, your yeses, your nos, and things around perfectionism. And we talked a little bit about the Zen Archer as well. And that's where I would love to drop into in terms of value. If you guys, what I'll do is not only anything that we mentioned in terms of books or website links and things like that. If you want to check out Ryan, Ryan and I work together. I'm managing the Zen Archer Collective as well. So I'm opening up the space for, if you guys want to drop in a comment or something like that, or just personal messaging me, just a 45-minute destiny call where you get really clear on your vision and your 90-day game plan, some things where you're at landing right now and what's holding you back, and just have a breakthrough session, really. And we'd love to drop in and deliver some value for that. If any of this resonated with you, Ryan's off for 6 weeks in a mystery school, so good luck getting a hold of him. He's probably going to be off social media, but please add him up on Facebook if you love, anything that we talked about today. Follow his work. He's always dropping amazing posts, and he's got an enriching lifestyle. And it's an encouraging, refreshing feeling to be around people like that and to see that being dropped in your feed as well. And it's also, he's a down-to-earth person. Like, don't be afraid to message and reach out, both myself or Ryan, about any of this. Anything that, if you're watching this, not live and you're rewatching this, because I know a lot of game changers that are tuning into the show are watching this in their own time, and you have questions, please like send it off to Rhyn and I about anything that was covered and discussed in the show. And if Rhyn, you wanted to add anything to that as well?
No, I just wanted to thank you so much, Jackson, for jumping on, and also just want to publicly say I really appreciate your support. Like you said, I've been that crazy octopus trying to manage so many aspects of the business, and it takes this team needs the sacred soul team, and you're like that sacred soul,
Mm-hmm.
and now we've got Sarah as well. But yeah, so now we've got the three, and it's really rare to have someone in the mentoring space to have other people on a soul sort of level, So it was one of the things that
Yeah,
Craig was sort of saying that, yeah, anyway, like I don't want to get into the story. I just wanted to express my gratitude and how much I've been able to come back to myself on all levels because of the support from you, man. So it's really, really grounded, and I'm just super stoked
yeah,
for all the goals and the visions that we've got coming. So, yeah, I'm excited for the impact that we certainly will have.
absolutely.
And thanks to
Yeah,
all the legends
absolutely.
who are
Thanks for
on
that.
tonight. Lots of great
Yeah,
people,
I was
clients, and
so
friends.
I've never had
Yeah.
changes live with so many love hearts firing away like so uh, yeah, that's what happens when you start freestyle rapping and leaning into your edge a little. And yeah, there's also the lifestyle design training that Rhyn mentioned earlier in the call too. If you guys want access to that, just personal message me and we'll get you hooked up to the lifestyle design training. It's a really, there's no top to that training, and it's really cool. Rhyn has developed that over many years, and like I mentioned, he filled up 4 different passports, like fully full. Like he was showing me these passports, all the places he was going to. I was like, far out, I was blown away. And yeah, so it's like his extraction of what it takes for you to create just an awesome life, and the different areas that he covers. So we can drop in that training for you as well. Fuck yes, live training. Look forward to that
That's
coming down.
free for everyone if they want it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, it's free.
Yeah, that's free, that
Yeah,
training too. Like
yeah, 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 that's free for sure. And I guess to finish, Rhyn, I'm also curious myself. I haven't asked you this before, but of all the places you've been, what's the one place that like kind of, I know there's different places that have different significance at different points in your life. So I guess, yeah, I guess that changing. What was the game changing moment that changed the way you play life? And I asked this on every Game Changers live, but I guess I haven't asked it yet to
oh
you.
wow. So can you ask that one more time so I can deeply feel into that? And
Yeah, I'll just let that sink in. And by the way, this is like, yeah, this is the game changing moment in your life that changed the way you play life.
there's been some really like multiple. There's about 5 or 6, but I think like
Yep,
the most significant one was when I said
yep,
goodbye to standard life, as most people, a lot of people are breaking out and living the life of their dreams now and aligning their life to their values. And I feel business is a tool for living your dreams. And but the key moment for me, Jackson, where that happened was when I decided to go live with the monks, and
mm,
like literally like the feedback was just like, what are you doing? Or okay, he'll only do that for a couple of months and he'll be back soon. And it was like just making that decision to follow your inner calling and your inner knowing,
mm,
and to do what you love and to back yourself fully. Like back yourself fully, don't have any doubt, just go in fully and own it. Just go in and own it. And that was what I did. And I'm not just saying that there isn't any challenges on the way. There isn't. But when you're doing what you love and you are challenged by that, the lessons are far more deeper. They might hurt more, but they're far more
boom.
deeper too. So Cahill Gibram says pain is the encompassing of the understanding of who we truly are. So if you're doing what you love and you get hurt, or you get challenged or something, the essence of that pain is only revealing more of your soul's purpose. Don't deny it. Let it through.
Mm,
Try to understand what that emotion is about. I mean, a lot of the work that we do on the program is awakening powerful emotional energies and moving through victim consciousness and a bunch of different stuff. But it's like that that of which we suppress is also the understanding of who we are. and we're taught to harden up, eat the cup of cement, look forward. Not bad strategies, but as the world's evolving and people are getting more connected to themselves, the feelings that we suppress cause depression or cause like sicknesses in the body. And I know that I've gone through a bunch of those. I'm very much big on the emotional journey these days because the wisdom that we have inside is from following what we love and understanding who we actually are inside of this flesh and inside of this body. It's far more richer than any other program or any other thing that you'll do. Like the true life-changing moment is when you connect in with yourself and you do what you love, and when you make that decision to do that, and
Wow.
you follow through. So yeah. Oh,
Wow.
Craig, he's been
Yeah,
crying, he's been laughing, he's been loving, he's been liking.
yeah, look, I couldn't think of a better way to end Game Changers Live tonight than that. Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. Like, thank you. Because yeah, it just resonates. I feel like it can resonate with a lot of people, and especially people that might be facing that moment. So it's always key. I always think there's that game-changing moment that we take that changes the way we play life. So I invite everyone into that possibility. What's your game-changing moment stepping out into this week that's going to change the way you play life? So we'll finish on that. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time and spending it with me on this Game Changers Live. Everyone that got the value out of whatever they got from this is super perfect. And thank you for tuning in, everyone, and dropping so much love and comments. For now, we'll peace out and just say good night. Good night, legends. See ya.
Peace and love. Peace and love.